guys, welcome to TINDERBOX. I am Tinder and this is where I speak my truth, my whole truth, and nothing but my truth. First things first, I hope you and yours are keeping well and safe and sound and sane, and that you're taking good care of yourselves and being kind to yourselves. As usual, I always advocate for kindness, and it starts from within. So be kind to yourself and then you can extend your kindness to other people. So yes, work is getting better, things are looking up, and I'm very excited. So I always look forward to Fridays to do the vlog, but today was absolutely crazy because for some reason my neighbor started drilling the wall. And I was like, oh my God, not now. And just as I was contemplating taking my equipment to the office, because I know my office is a little bit quiet, he stopped. So hopefully they don't start drilling again. But if they start drilling, I will definitely have to move this conversation to the office. So fingers crossed, they do not start drilling again. So a massive thank you to everyone that has been showing me so much love and support, and everyone that has been sharing my videos, everyone that has been sending me messages, just letting me know how much they enjoy this. This is why I'm doing this. I'm loving it, I'm enjoying it, and it's getting better with each video. So this is number 13. If you are new to the channel, you have 12 more videos to watch, so make sure that you watch them. I bet you will thoroughly enjoy them. You can thank me later. But yes, welcome to the channel. So today's topic is a very touchy one. Yes, it's very touchy, and it's feminism. Now, I don't know why I find it really difficult to discuss feminism. Probably just because of the many gray areas and all the layers that come with feminism. And one of my friends asked me if I'm a feminist, and I just couldn't give them an answer. I told them that I have to think about it. And when I thought about it, I thought there are aspects about feminism that I totally support, but I think it's just the kind of language we use when it comes to feminism. And I will expound on that on this video. So what is feminism? I mean, feminism is the advocacy of women's rights based on all sexes being equal. So quite simply, feminism is about all genders having the same opportunities and the same rights. That sounds very simple, right? But it's not that simple. It is not simple. And I mean, I opened a can of worms when I was doing my research on this topic, and I'm like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, what is this? Yes, I was quite surprised. So the feminist movement started ages ago, and there have been 4 waves historically. So the first wave happened in the late 19th century, early 20th century, and it was the suffragettes. Now, anybody that knows about suffragettes knows how passionate they were. And suffragettes just wanted the right to vote. And it was at a time when men were going to war and women were doing the jobs that men were doing. So women were like, okay, so when men go to war, we keep this house in order. So why can't we be allowed to vote? And they decided, no, we have to be allowed to vote. We have to push for this agenda. And they were pushing for the right to vote. They were also pushing for the right to own property. They were also pushing for the right to be a candidate when it comes to elections. So to run for election. And it was a crazy time. Women were jumping in front of buses to prove a point. It was absolutely crazy. The second wave came in the form of the women's liberation movement, and this was in the 1960s, and it was pushing for equal rights when it comes to legal and social matters. And the third wave, which was in the early 90s, focused mainly on individuality and diversity. I mean, we saw women go to Beijing. I remember that movement, Maendeleo ya Wanawake in Kenya. Those women went to Beijing, and it was the women's conference, and it was a massive movement back then. And the men were like, what are these women up to? First they wanted a vote, then they wanted land ownership and property ownership, then they wanted equality when it comes to the social and legal systems. Then now they want diversity and individuality, you know? So men started paying attention in the early 90s. And I remember in Kenya, it was a big thing. If a woman was part of the Maendeleo ya Wanawake, she was trouble. She was labeled as a troublemaker. So that was the early 90s. And the fourth wave is the biggest. It's the current wave we're currently riding. And the reason that it's the biggest, it started in the 2000s, late 2000s. And the reason it is the biggest is because of social media. So women have gone on social media and they're using that platform to address sexual harassment, to address violence against women, to address the rape culture. And that is where the Me Too movement has emerged from. So those are the four waves. So it started as a small ripple, but right now, whoa, we are in the deep sea and we're all trying to hang for our dear lives. Both men and women, because we have so many different layers of feminism. And I didn't know just how many types of feminists we had in the world until I started doing this research. So it's been very enriching for me. So if you're a feminist, what kind of feminist are you? I mean, how do you identify with the liberal kind of feminism that actually advocates for equal rights? Just equal rights, you know, they're quite liberal. They just want the same platform with men? Or are you a radical feminist who is pushing for the removal of gender? So even when they're given a form to say whether they're male or female, they would rather not say because they don't want to identify as anything. So this kind of feminism is quite aggressive in a way that they want to make sure that women are not women. So they don't want women to be able to get pregnant because they blame pregnancy on men. So they want science to come up with a way where a kid can be incubated out of the woman. So the woman doesn't have to take maternity leave and miss out on work and miss out on promotions. Because yes, according to them, all these issues women are having are because of men. Women are missing out because of men. And to be honest, I think radical feminism is where toxic femininity is derived from. This hatred of men and the thought that men are the reason that all women are suffering. And if we didn't identify as women, then we are not suffering at all. And then we have the socialist or the Marxist feminists. And these are the ones that actually think that capitalism is hurting women and the only way that women can succeed is if we spread the wealth so women are not reliant on men. And that is actually quite true because a lot of women depend on men. So once you become a mother, that is when your options get very limited. So if you don't have a partner to raise your kids with, you will suffer. And that applies for women who are having kids in the hope that they will raise these kids with somebody else. Of course, there are those independent women who don't want any man in their lives. They just want a child and they will take care of the child. That's different. But when it comes to the socialists, they believe that the only way that we can level this playing ground is if women have the same economic opportunities as men. So they can earn the same. They can have more opportunities when it comes to the workplace, when it comes to promotions, they can get that as well. And yes, I know how important money is for a woman, and a lot of women that actually have money tend to enjoy their freedom much more than women that are solely dependent on the men. And then we have cultural feminism, which is actually derived from the radicals, and they believe that the only way we can have a beautiful world is if women are in charge of things. So they believe that a world ruled by women would be a kinder world. So we wouldn't be bombing each other, we wouldn't be fighting each other. Now, honestly, I don't know how accurate that is, because most of the wars in ancient times were actually caused by women. And women could just cut your fucking head off just because you looked at them the wrong way. That is how powerful women felt. I mean, come on, guys. Seriously? You think that a world will be kinder if women are in charge? I doubt it. I think it will be more aggressive. But to give female leaders credit, especially with COVID-19, a lot of the countries that have managed to actually cope with COVID-19 are led by women. So women have been in charge of most of these countries because I think women are more rational when it comes to leadership positions. And yes, they don't cope well with other women, but they work really well with men. And they basically go out of their way to prove to the men that actually, you know what, I can be a very good leader. And they work really hard to build those relationships. So yes, I can see where that is going. But I know that women can also go from 0 to 100 like that. So I'm speaking of myself, so that's why. And then we have eco-feminists, and these are more traditional, and they believe that women are very much like nature. They're nurturing, they connect, they're nourishing. So I think that is more traditional, and it goes to work towards connecting with Mother Nature. But then there are so many other different types of feminists. There's a ton, like a long list, and in that list there's Black feminism, which actually links into the racial struggles as well. So Black feminists believe that there's no way they are on the same boat with white feminists, for example, because of all these extra struggles that are layered. And then there are hip-hop feminists who are linked to the Black feminists. And then you find the separatist feminists who are linked to the lesbian feminists, who believe that they want to basically eradicate men most of the times. And then you have the lipstick feminists who actually believe that they can use their sex appeal. It's very traditional also. They believe that the man should be the man, the woman should be the woman, and the woman should use her sex appeal to basically maneuver through life. So there are so many different types of feminists, and I think the only way we can have a really good conversation about feminism is if you know how you identify as a feminist. Are you a radical? Are you liberal? Are you a socialist? Are you eco? Are you lipstick? Are you traditional? What are you? Are you a Black feminist? And how do you explain your feminism? So the different waves of feminism have introduced a lot of layers in the movement, and I feel that the different cores in each layer make it really hard for me to identify as a feminist, and that is my truth. And I think this is also the reason that we have a lot of toxic femininity. So toxic femininity is definitely not about equality. It is more about emasculating men and infringing on their rights. So yes, you want your share of the cake, but you don't want the men to get anything from that. You're so pissed off at men that you definitely want all of them to pay for it. That is very unhealthy. And there are so many different ways that a woman can be a toxic feminist, like always acting like the damsel in distress, so being manipulative in your connection with men. So you want to act like you're constantly the victim, and the men are the reason that you are the victim. I mean, taking advantage of men just because you're a woman is toxic. The other way is flirting with men and then expecting them not to chase you, not to pursue you. I mean, come on, seriously? That is toxic. The other one is subjugating men and emasculating them whenever they show some kind of strength. So it could be intellectual strength, it could be physical strength, it could be emotional strength, but no, you want them to feel this small at the end of the day. You don't want to admit that, you know what, you're better than me in such and such and such a way. No, you just want them to always feel small. That is toxic. And then there is a very, very big one where women insist that by virtue of being a man, you are toxic. Now that is definitely toxic. Yes. So toxic femininity is an inherently selfish mode that we definitely need to eradicate. You can't say that you're a feminist, that you want equal rights, but then you want the equal rights at the expense of one sex. It just doesn't make sense. So how do we address equality without emasculating men or making them feel inferior? How do we push the movement without making men feel like the other? Now, I watched a very, very interesting TED Talk by Betsy Cairo. It was titled "Why I'm Not a Feminist." And she went on to explain how polarizing and contradicting the word feminism is. The word feminist is very gender specific, and it can put off a lot of people from identifying as feminists. And I know what the dictionary says, it's about equality and anyone can be a feminist, but it's down to the language we are using. If you say that you're advocating for equality and gender rights, that is definitely warmer than when you say you're a feminist. And it's because of all these different layers to feminism. And you can say, no, I'm a feminist, but I'm not like this. But yes, in that same group, there are so many feminists that have different ideals. It is a massive, it is multifaceted, and you can't really get rid of it. You can't get rid of all those different layers. You can't say that you're a feminist, but then exclude all these different parts of it because they also identify as feminists. We definitely need to work together to eradicate the different facets of feminism. And the only way we can do that is by identifying as equalists. Yes. If you say that you're an equalist, then it simplifies things. Think about gay rights. Think about the Black Lives Matter. The moment you label something as gay rights or Black people's rights, it just brings a lot of pushback. Let me just say that. But then if you were to say we want equal rights for all human beings, we all want to be equal without labeling it as for Black people or for gay people or for women or for men, then you're more likely to get a positive response. We need to include others. We need to use language that doesn't make people feel like you're either with us or against us. So we all need to identify the fact that we're all in this together, but we're not the same. There are so many layers, and the only way that we can get rid of all those layers is by simplifying it. So fight for equality, fight for human rights, fight for the basic stuff that all the men enjoy, the women want to enjoy, you know, without tagging it as a feminist agenda. Because yes, there are so many different layers, and unless you are willing to explain what kind of feminist you are, saying that you're a feminist by itself is not enough. It's just not enough. And I just feel that we can still push the agenda without using language that others everybody else. And yep, that's what I think. But leave your comments below. And if you like what you've seen and what you've heard, leave your like below as well. And do not forget to subscribe. Okay, so I get a YouTube analytic kind of thing, and most of the people that are actually viewing my videos have not subscribed. So guys, if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of my videos, make sure that you subscribe. And yes, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for today. I look forward to reading your comments. I look forward to knowing what you guys think. But that's it for today, guys. Take very good care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. And I will see you guys next weekend. Okay? Take care. Bye. Mwah.